Hello, everyone. So I went over offensive zoning and, well, puck drop and all that stuff last time. And yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I was lazy about it. But here I am. We're going to move this out here to fix the lighting. I'll do this one as well. So today we're going to talk about defensive zones and positioning. Um, because that's actually really important and it's going to get really confusing here. So I will do my best. So just to recap, everything as far as direction is in the viewpoint of the goalie. The goalie's facing this way, so this is the left side. This is the right side. Breaking down the zones and just like the geographic area of the rink here. You have your face-off corners, goal. This is the crease. This actually will. Let's do the back side of the goal because we will have to deal with that today. Blue line of the entry, red goal line behind the net. And then this area you can either call corners or pockets. I was taught pockets. You'll hear me say pockets. Being that as it is, let's get into it. So the opposing team's going to make entry into our zone this way. Our biggest threat is both time and distance for defense, giving the other players time to make decisions and the room and distance to do so. So we want to take that away as soon as possible. So first, let's talk about the zones, though. Green will be the borders of these zones. Let me put your positions in there. So we'll say this is left wing, right wing, center here. And then defense I'm not going to draw because I'll show you why. Let's do the forwards first. So these greens is the borders of what your zones are. So your zone in the defensive zone is this section as a wing. This section as a wing. And then your center, which is, if you want to think of center in a defensive position, it's basically the center, you have no position and you have everyone's position at the same time. You're supposed to be reading what the other team is trying to do, read into that, and then at the same time also trying to read when there's about to be a breakout. So your center zone is like this. For your defensive zones actually start at the opposing goal post and go all the way back here. And then the other side is all the way back here. And look at this. All areas are covered. But in reality, you'll learn that these are very fluid and will always be changing. You'll realize and get very frustrated playing a zone defense. Not because it's wrong or like it's not how you do it. It's more so because the game moves so fast. So let's just break it down to. Okay, we're going to get rid of the crosshairs for a second. They're too busy. We're going to break it down to each position. We'll start with the forwards. So as I was saying before, your zone is this area here as in respect to the right or left. Your job as the wing is to facilitate breakouts and to also be on top of this opposing D-man. Because what's going to happen, as we talked about in our last video, when we make entries, the wings are going to do two things. When they kind of do an entry, they're going to try to pass it around the boards and create time and space so they can act upon it. Or their defenseman's going to try to get in center or do a pass. But what happens when they're already in your zone? What they're going to try to do if they get stuck over here or they get stuck over here, they're going to pass back to their defenseman, and the defenseman's going to shoot it right back in. That's where you, as a wing, come into play. Since your zone is this zone, anything that comes up the boards towards you is now your job. Or if this defenseman gets control the puck, he is now your job. You need to pressure him, or you need to force a pass, or force him to shoot anything. The faster you are on the defenseman, the less time he has to make a decision, and sometimes you can force a fumble, and then now you're back to the offense. But if, say, just for the sake of conversation, puck's coming off the boards, you as the left wing is there, you gain the puck around this position here. You should do, well, there's a couple options. So if you have the time in the room, you can challenge this defenseman and see if you can do a board pass around him and then come across. Or you can drive center. Or if your center is where he's supposed to be, your center should be reading that there's a breakout, and your center should already be driving. And you just pass to your center. Your center will take, and then you just follow. I mean, that's classic breakout, like in the best role possible. But considering we're not, most times as a wing, especially in our league, when you do gain puck possession here, you either are going to try to challenge the defenseman, and as he pushes you, you're going to board pass around him because he won't have the skill level as a defenseman to stop a board bounce, from him, and then you just roll off the opposing side, right? So if you don't know what I mean by a board bounce behind him, it's basically you're angling. So say this is the puck, you're right here, you're pushing this way. When you get about to where this marker is, you're gonna hit the puck, bink and boink, and then as it's doing that, you just go around him and then regain the puck here and then start your push. That's what I mean by that. Let's see if I can do this without deleting everything. So that's it. Like, that's your role as a wing in the defensive zone. Going back to the center, yours is way more complicated. Like I said, you have this box, and you have two roles in the defensive zone. The primary role is to read the play that the opposing team is doing and try to get in the way of that, of course. And then also at the same time, anytime that you read that your wing is about to get possession, it's time to break. So depending on where the players are and where the puck is, depends where you are. Say the puck is in the corner here. This is actually your spot right here, because you can both enact here, or when this D-man comes to center, you can enact on them there. If the puck is here and your wing has possession of it, you're facilitating breakout and you're pushing out, and then it will pass to you, hopefully. Now, if you're not confident in your wing, you would also push back up here and then see where the puck gets loose to, and then either you regain it or it's going to go to your defensive, and then you're right back to your zone. Honestly, you have so many angles you have to cover in defensive zones as a center that it's too complicated to talk about. You have to just kind of know. You're going to have to get an intuition about it. But also, it's frustrating, right? Because as you're trying to figure out what the opposing team is trying to set up a play, and you're also covering the wingers, you're also covering the D-men when they're out of their slots for whatever reason. You're also having to consider and predict when a breakout opportunity is going to happen to facilitate a pass out. But when it comes to centers at defense, it's basically fuck being a center in a defense. It's hard. It sucks. Center in the offense is so much more fun. That saying, let's erase all these people and talk about the defensives. So the defensive zones, again, are really fucking big. It's basically the opposing goalpost of your position, this pocket, until about here. And then for the right, defense is this. Now, what you do as a defenseman is you trade positions throughout. So now we're being blue today as our positions. So say the puck is driven down the right board. It is the right defenseman's job to cover this pocket when that happens. While the right D is covering this area and pushing whoever's down here or regaining possession, it is the lefty's job to take over this box. And when they're in that box, you'll have the opposing players trying to take up the center position in front of the goalie. The best thing to do is just to be aware. And a lot of times, I'm not going to get to that complexity. And then as the play goes, delete the zones. Delete the zones. Oh, God. Oh, God. Whatever. We all know what the fucking this looks like. Now, we're talking about the entry into trading positions and fluidity. So you guys are in your position. The puck's down here. He goes to push. Now the puck either goes this way or they're going to shoot it back through the D. Now what happens, right? What do we do? Well, since you guys are a team, if the puck goes up the boards this way, the lefty is going to reposition himself here, and then the right D now takes the center, and it just goes back and forth. You just keep trading positions and trading the roles, which as defense is really, really, really important because it's the only way that you're going to get some good coverage in this position, this section of the ice. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're both going to get drawn either behind the net or you're going to push into the wing spot. And now this whole section is going to be open. So now it's going to force this defenseman or the center to come down here. And now you just left the front open. It happens all the time. Everyone wants to be where the action is. That's not how it's played. You play your positions. You keep in your positions. You don't get drawn in. And you keep coverage. Especially at this level where a lot of us are just not good. And they can't skate. And we can't be fast. Working the zones is stupid important. So let's do scenarios, right? So the opposing team, they're on a drive. Our Ds are right here. Oh shit, I wrote that wrong side. So this guy's an L, actually. Yeah, it's my handwriting. So the opposing team, they're driving in. Their wing is coming down here. They decide they want to do a dump and chase. So they're going to shoot the puck over here into this section here. It is now the right defenseman's job or left defenseman's job to come chase that. And at the same time, physically block the swing here from obtaining. But if he is able to do that, so now you have the lefty here, but don't mind the colors. So what is he going to do? Well, your right D, with you driving the pocket, should be in the middle. So you're like, oh, okay, my best friend's here. We should maybe use him. Like, he doesn't have anyone on him. Wrong. Never, ever pass to a man in front of the goalie because he can be easily challenged. And honestly, the opposing team should already be entering, which if they did, their center is going to be here. And if they're smart, their opposing wing is going to be backdoor right here. So now you have a situation where this D-man's already compromised. And if you have a choice, you're going to have to do boards. And the reason why is because in this scenario, your wings are already behind. Once you as a defensive is in this pocket, your wing is probably just going to be entering the zone from either their offensive push or the puck drop. Just because they have to turn around, regain momentum, and drive, there's no way they're going to be able to catch up to those players in time. So you really only have one real option, well, two, and that is to drive the boards and hope that your wing is there. Now you're going to say, like, well, where's the center, right? Well, the center should also be entering. They'll be here. Everyone's just going to be late. So you as the defenseman, you'll be being pressured right here. Just drive boards. It's the only way to go about it. Do never, ever pass in front of the goal, ever. There's really no scenario that calls for it. There's never a time where it'll ever make sense. You just can't argue it. Now, with that, and I went over all the zones, and I went over the positionings, and I went over that scenario. Boop. Now, what happens if we do a puck drop in our zone, right? So we have the crosshatch here. Boop, boop. The positioning for these, for us on a puck drop, is going to look like this. Center, left wing, right wing in the center, right D, left D. Different, but why? Well, let's put the opposing team on here. So their center, their left wing, their right wing, their D-man, and their D-man. Now, I didn't talk about our offensive positioning in their zone when on puck drop, but you kind of see what it would look like. This is how we'd also line up if we were them in their zone, if we had a puck drop in their zone. The centers are where they're supposed to be. The wing on the respectable side will be where he be. And then the right wing will be in the center, or the left wing will be in the center. Notice the D's. The D is going to be on the board, and he's also going to be in the center. And why is because they're hoping that this center is going to win the puck drop, which we now know is the goal is to go backwards, not forward. The center is going to pass back to one of these D's. Hopefully, usually they like to get the center D, and the Denner C just going to take a straight shot into it. Oh my God, someone's calling me. If they pass back to this D, he's going to bang boards, and this right wing's going to regain. But now we're on the defensive in our zone, so let's refocus on that. Why did we put our wing in the center? Well, as we just talked about, the opposition just has their play where they really want this D-man to go. So when the puck drops, our goal is to get to our D-man, and he makes a decision on how the play sets. So let's do that first, right? So the puck gets back down here. He has possession. The wings should drive this. This wing drives straight out fast. Or alternatively, he can go this way. This wing is going to just stay where he is. That's it. And our center is going to go like that. Now, why? This D-man has time. He has time to make a decision. We know that we have possession and that we're in a safe spot. So, depending on where these guys move to or how they read the play, this D-man, say if they stay in their spots, it's just going to pass hard around the boards, and this right wing's going to regain it, and then he has the break. The reason why he's going to get the break is because this D-man's still staying still. He hasn't moved yet because he hasn't seen where the play is going to go, so he can't act upon it. So this wing is our breakout now. With that breakout, once he regains, this center is also breaking out, and then he can he has a pass opportunity in the center of the ice. Now, why did I say for this left wing to stay where he is? So say this defenseman, he reads this left defenseman's going to pass all the way around to this right wing. And he starts also going down to cover this area. Well, this D-man can now pass to this wing, and this wing can pass to the center, who's now driving forward. So which creates an opportunity, right? Because now this zone is open. This D-man's still flat-footed. This wing is still flat-footed. Or if he is pressuring, not much. So it'd be a quick little pop, pop, center, pop. And those are the two definite breakouts from in our zone. What I didn't say is why we put our right defense here. The only reason why is because if they do win and it goes up to this D-man, or if it goes to this person, he covers both. He can get in the way of both very easily. If they win, the center is going to challenge the center, obviously. Now, if they win and they do get it back to the center D, It is the right winger's responsibility to push him, while the right defenseman comes down to take the slot. That way it stays covered. That way you'll always have a defenseman in the center, and then you can reorientate depending how the play progresses. Defensive zones are so difficult and so complicated. What else? I mean, I didn't really want to get into this, but let's do it. Let's talk about positional cycling. Because if you thought that was complicated, check this out. So you know how I talked about the zones and how they're very concrete? Guess what? They're not. Guess what? They don't actually exist at all. Once you learn intuition and what they call, oh man, you can't even see my air quotes, hockey IQ. Hockey IQ is just reading plays. That's all it is. And reading plays makes you be able to complete plays. So my favorite way of doing cycling is this. So let's do opposing D-man. Let's do left D-man, left wing. We'll do, the puck is right here. Boop. Now let's draw the other players. Our center is here. Our right D is here. Oh my God, I can't get it. Let's write them. Their center D will be here. Their wing DD. Their left wing will probably be pushing this guy. And then their right wing will probably be right here, back door. All right, so we have this scenario, right? Our lefty is in the corner with the puck. He's being pushed by this guy. Now, with zone positioning, like I said before, he has two options, right? He could pass around here and hope that our right wing, oh my gosh, I fucking did this, because our right wing should be here in his zone, because now he can cover this area. So he can pass around to our right wing and hope it gets there. But let's say our right wing is here, but for some reason, this D-man right here has already read that I'm going to pass around. So he already positioned himself here. Well, shit, right? Or even worse, this wing right here, boop, is reading that I'm going to pass the boards, and he puts himself right here. Well, that takes that whole half of the ice out of the play. So what can we do? Well, we can do something called positional cycling. Your D and your wing on the respectable side should interchange. The D's and the wings should both know each position very well. And by knowing each position very well, they can do stuff like this, which is very effective. So this D-man, who has position of this puck, would pass to the wing to avoid this guy. And as he's passing to the wing, he's going to start driving like this. This wing, who has possession, passes to the D-man. And now the D-man is open territory to go and drive. Well, now this wing has to take over this D-man slot, which means that you have to know both roles. It's a more of an advanced thing, and it's when you actually learn how to play all of the positions correctly that you could do this. But this is what ups you from the E level of just doing plain zones to a D level where you recognize that you can cycle the positions, and by having cycling positionings and awareness, you can create plays like this that are like, will just completely dupe a zone position team. Because a zone position team, for them, this D-man's flat. This D-man's out of position. This wing is so far down. This wing is so far down. So now it creates a scenario where you have a push and a one-on-one scenario for the opposing goalie, which is like great. I think the stats on a breakout to the goalie with no pressure, I think the goal ratio is like 65%, which is great. half the time that you will push on a goalie solo, as long as you're like not a complete fuck up, you should score every other time. Great, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that's where I'm going to leave it. This is a lot. This defensive zones is a lot. I can talk more about this if you guys are interested. Let me know. Um, or if there's other topics you want to talk about, let me know. I have a pretty cool setup here with my little boards. But yeah, other things. Some people were curious what this looks like outside of this little like um, whiteboard thing. So I'll show you. This is my home, my VR home. Oh gosh, well, it's still loading now. This is my little VR home that I chose. It's pretty cool. You can come here, you can pick up things, you can look at things. It's pretty sweet. I can color things, I think, if I remember right. Oh, I can resize things. These are all my games that I have. I have so many. If you want to work out and play video games at the same time, VR is a great thing to do that with. There are some things in here that do work. I want to say this works. Maybe not. Maybe not. There's other environments that you can do that have more things that you can mess around with. Let's go outside. But yeah, it's nice and calm. It's very easy peas. There's a little seal family down here that you can come talk to if you want to. Hey guys. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool how it works. This system has optional digits that you can actually flex each single one, which comes in handy in certain games. Pretty cool. Well, hope that made sense to you guys. Have a good day.